All right, every single one of you in the Garibaldi Red Army, take a deep breath, just for a second, because what we have just witnessed is not just a transfer deadline day, it was a statement of intent, written with a £150 million pen, sealed with chaos, and delivered with the kind of raw ambition that sends shockwaves through the entire league. The phones at the City ground must have melted. The fax machine, if they even have one anymore, probably burst into flames. Because this was madness in the best possible way. We are going to unpack a day so frantic, so pivotal, that it will define the rest of our season, and maybe much, much more. Tonight, we have to talk about the marquee signing we have been screaming for all summer, a winger with lightning in his boots, and a price tag that shatters records, a deal that went right down to the wire. We're going to pull back the curtain and show you the frantic behind-the-scenes chase for that very player, the secret medicals and the advanced talks that prove this was no last-minute panic. And then there's the sheer power play. The moment our owner looked a rival billionaire square in the eyes, saw his multi-million-pound offer for one of our key men, and simply said no. A message sent not just to one club, but to all of them. But it wasn't all about the big names and the big money for today. We also need to discuss the move that nobody saw coming. A young goal-scoring prodigy, poached from a London giant, signed on the dotted line, only to be sent away immediately. There's a master plan at work here, a long game being played that you need to know about. And finally, we will address the tension that has been simmering all summer. The manager's public frustration, his pointed words about missed opportunities, and the owner's deafening response. A response that came in the form of a spending spree so vast, so overwhelming, it has left us with arguably the most powerful Forest squad in 3 decades. So I have to ask you right now, what does this level of chaos, this level of spending, truly say about our club's ambition this season? Before we get into the first stunning revelation, do me a massive favor. Hit that like button and drop a comment below with your one-word gut feeling on this transfer window. It helps to channel more than you could possibly know. Right, are you ready to dive in? Because the first piece of news we need to talk about is the one that was officially sealed. The clock is ticking down. That relentless, unforgiving yellow banner is a permanent fixture at the bottom of your screen, and you're praying. We've all been there, refreshing, scrolling, hoping, just one more. One game changer to complete the puzzle that Nuno has been building. We knew we needed another winger, someone with genuine pace and end product to provide fierce competition, to give us another weapon in an already stacked arsenal. The whispers had been there all summer, a name floating on the breeze, sometimes feeling close, other times feeling like a distant dream. But this is deadline day, and on deadline day, dreams or nightmares become reality in the blink of an eye. The name is Delane Bakwa. Let that sink in. The man from RC Strasbourg, the winger who has been linked, touted, and debated for months, is a Nottingham Forest player. Fabrizio Romano gave it the 3 words every football fan on the planet waits to hear. Here we go, a done deal, sealed. The confirmation came through on Monday night, capping off a day of truly breathtaking business. The fee, a staggering €35 million, which translates to a cool £30 million. This isn't just a signing, it's a landmark. That fee represents a record sale for RC Strasbourg. Think about that for a second. A proud French club, and we have just paid them the biggest transfer fee they have ever received in their history. That is the level we are operating at now. This is the power of Evangelos Marinakis' ambition. Bakwa's arrival was a crescendo of a truly hectic day, which also saw the club officially announce the signing of left-back Cuiabano from Botafogo, another piece in this global recruitment strategy. He became the 3rd player to join from the Brazilian club this window, following John Victor and Igor Jesus. It's a clear pipeline of talent, but Bakwa is the headline act. He's the star on top of the tree. Last season for Strasbourg, he posted incredible numbers. 6 goals and 8 assists in just 30 appearances. He is coming here to make an immediate impact, to challenge Dan and Doy on that right side of the attack, and with 4 competitions on our schedule this season, the Premier League, the Cups, and of course Europe, he is guaranteed to get the chance to stake his claim. After this summer, this squad is in a phenomenal place. There is quality and there is depth all over the pitch. The second string 11 that Forest could field now is strong enough to compete. Marinakis has done his job. He has delivered the firepower. Now it's over to the players and the manager to deliver the results. So the first big question for you lot, looking at that £30 million fee and his record in France, is Delaine Bakwa the final piece of the attacking puzzle we needed to become a real force this season? I want to see your honest opinions in the comments. Because if you think the final confirmation of the deal was dramatic, you need to hear about the frantic, nail-biting scramble that went on just hours before to even make it all possible. Before the confirmation, before the here we go, there is always the doubt, that gnawing uncertainty that every fan knows too well. Especially on deadline day. Deals fall apart at the final hurdle over medicals, over agent fees, over a single clause in a 100-page contract. We have all seen it happen. And as the hours ticked by, the desperation for that final attacking piece was growing. The departure of Anthony Elanga to Newcastle earlier in the summer left a significant hole in our squad, a void of goals and assists from the wide areas that had to be filled. You can't compete on four fronts with a weakness in your armor. And the man the club had identified to not just fill that void, but to upgrade it was always Delaine Bakwa. He was the primary target, the one they wanted all summer. But being a target is one thing, and getting a deal over the line is another beast entirely. The first concrete sign that this was not just another rumor, that this was truly real, came from the most reliable sources. First John Percy at The Telegraph, then Tom Colomos from the Daily Mail. They both reported the key phrase, the 6 words that turn a dream into a tangible reality. A medical is booked for him. That right there is the point of no return. You don't book your medical unless the clubs have agreed a fee and you have a broad agreement on personal terms. It is the final decisive step. This wasn't a last-minute panic buy after other deals had failed. The reports confirmed he has been wanted by Forest for the entire summer. It shows a clear strategy, a persistence from Ross Wilson and the recruitment team that paid off handsomely. We weren't the only ones in for him either. Premier League rivals like Leeds and Fulham were linked with him at various points. But Forest got their man. We won the race. So what are we getting? Bakwa is a classic modern winger, primarily left-footed. He loves to operate from the right-hand side and cut inside, causing chaos for defenders. At just 23 years old, he has significant scope to improve, a massive ceiling, which fits the club's transfer model perfectly. He will slot into a fiercely competitive group of wingers fighting for a starting spot with the likes of Omari Hutchinson, Dan Ndoye, and Callum Hudson-Odoi. That level of competition is exactly what you need. And consider this as a little anecdote to show the sheer pull of our club right now. Strasbourg had qualified for the UEFA Conference League. They could offer him European football this season. And yet the lure of the Premier League, the project being built at the city ground, the ambition shown by Marinakis, it was stronger. They simply could not hold on to their star player in the face of our determination. That speaks volumes. So let's be honest with each other down in the comments. When you first saw the serious links to Bakwa earlier this summer, did you genuinely believe the club would pull it off, especially for a £30 million fee? I want to know what you really thought. It is a massive, massive statement of intent from the club, but believe it or not, it might not have been the biggest statement our owner made on deadline day. A truly powerful transfer window is not just defined by who you buy. It's defined by who you have the strength to keep. It's about being able to fend off the circling sharks, about being able to reject huge sums of money because you believe in the project you are building. It's a declaration that you're no longer a stepping stone. You are the destination. And on deadline day, Evangelos Marinakis made that declaration loud and clear. There was a huge amount of interest in one of our most exciting attacking talents, a player who can change a game in an instant. That player is Jota Silva, and the man who was leading the charge to sign him? None other than the American businessman John Textor, the owner of Botafogo, Crystal Palace, and Lyon. A man who, ironically, has already done a significant amount of business with Forest this summer. Textor came knocking, looking to leverage that relationship. He came with a briefcase stuffed with cash, an offer worth up to £20 million, and our owner, Evangelos Marinakis, reportedly slammed the door shut in his face. Let's break down the context here because it's a fascinating power play. Forest have been very active in the Brazilian market, signing Igor Jesus, John Victor, and Cuiabano, all from Textor's Botafogo network. In the other direction, we sold the brilliant Danilo to them. Perhaps Textor felt that this relationship, this constant flow of players, made Forest open for business on any of our assets. He was sorely mistaken. An offer of an initial £16.5 million with add-ons taking it to a potential $20 million is not a speculative bid. That is serious life-changing money for any player and a huge fee for the club to consider. And the answer was an emphatic no. This sends a message. It tells the rest of the world that Nottingham Forest are not a selling club unless it is on our own terms. It tells the players currently at the City Ground that they are part of a project with immense ambition, that they won't be sold off at the first sign of a big check. But Textor wasn't the only one who tried and failed. Portuguese giant Sporting CP were also pushing hard, trying their luck with a complex loan offer that included various clauses. Their deal was a €2 million loan fee with another $2 million in bonuses based on appearances and goals, followed by a mandatory purchase of €16 million the following summer. It was complicated, messy, and again, it was rejected. Marinakis wanted to keep his player. This dynamic between Marinakis and Textor is like a high-stakes game of chess, with clubs and players as the pieces. Textor made a bold move to try and capture one of our key assets. Marinakis simply took the piece off the board and told him to try again later. The king remains in his castle. Here's the big debate for you to have in the comments then. For a fee of £20 million, would you have sold Jota Silva? Be honest with me. It's a massive amount of money, but can you put a price on sending a message of strength to the rest of the football world? It shows the club is thinking about winning now, but also about building for the future. Which brings us to a very, very interesting deal for a young man from Chelsea. Not every move on transfer deadline day is designed to make an immediate, explosive impact on the first team. Some are quieter, more strategic. They are the whispers in the background, the shrewd investments that pay off seasons down the line. While all eyes were on the multi-million-pound sagas and the frantic race against the clock for established stars, Ross Wilson and the Forest recruitment team were playing a different game entirely. They were securing the future. They were looking at one of the top academies in world football, at a young striker with a goal record so ridiculous it makes you sit up and take notice, and they made their move. The name you need to remember is Donald McNeely, a 19-year-old goal machine poached directly from Chelsea's formidable academy. He was officially announced as a Nottingham Forest player, and then in a move that shows clear, intelligent, long-term planning, before he could even find his way to the training ground, he was immediately announced as a new signing for Wycombe Wanderers on loan in League One. Now this is a classic and very clever sign and loan strategy. McNeely's record speaks for itself. He scored a staggering 32 goals in 39 appearances for Chelsea's under-18s, and then a further 16 goals in 28 games for their under-21s in the Premier League 2. He is clearly a prodigious talent, a natural finisher who is now too good for youth football. He needs to be tested in the brutal, unforgiving world of senior competitive matches. But is he ready for our first team right now? No. So instead of letting him stagnate, the club has found a perfect solution. They have sent him to a team, Wycombe, who are currently struggling in 22nd place in League One, a team that has been desperate for a striker all window. He is going to play. He is going to get battered and bruised by seasoned professionals. He will learn his trade in the toughest of environments. It is the perfect move for his development. Now, you might ask, how did we get a player like this from Chelsea? Well, there's an interesting connection. The article points out that McNeely is represented by the famous agent Kaya Jorabchin's Sports Invest UK agency, the very same agency that represents our own Omari Hutchinson and Douglas Luiz. This is not a coincidence. This is modern football. It's about leveraging strong relationships with powerful figures to gain access to the best young talent on the market. Imagine being 19. 1 minute you're at Cobham, the next you've signed for Nottingham Forest, and now you're heading to Adams Park to lead the line in a relegation dogfight. That is a baptism of fire, and it will show us exactly what this kid is made of. What's your take on this kind of strategy? Do you like the idea of Forest using connections with super agents like Jorabchin? to hoover up young talent like this, even if they go straight back out on loan? Let me know your thoughts down below. It's a clever forward-thinking move, but it's just one piece of the incredible bigger picture that was painted this summer. A picture that, let's not forget, started with a manager's very clear and very public frustration. We lost a very good opportunity to do things better. Those were the words, blunt, honest. And coming from a man who is usually so reserved in public, they were incredibly powerful. That was the assessment from our manager, Nuno Espirito Santo, before the season had even kicked off. He was frustrated with the slow pace of our transfer business. For a manager who places such a huge emphasis on getting new arrivals in early, on having a full pre-season to integrate them into his system, the summer had been a source of genuine concern. The stunning success of the previous season was widely credited to the fantastic pre-season camp in Spain, a time when the squad bonded and learned Nuno's methods inside and out. This year, it took time. Patience was required, and Nuno's public statement was a clear challenge to the board, a cry for action. And now, on the other side of a transfer window that saw the club spend upwards of £150 million, a window that ended in a whirlwind of incredible signings, it is crystal clear that the owner, Evangelos Marinakis, was listening to every single word. And his response was delivered not in interviews, but in action. Deafening, decisive action. The fallout between Nuno and the club's hierarchy, if there ever truly was one, has been rendered irrelevant by the sheer scale of the backing the manager has received. The number of summer signings is in double figures. The money spent is astronomical. The result is what many are calling the strongest, deepest Nottingham Forest squad in decades. There's a perfect blend of youthful potential, seasoned experience, elite quality, and tactical flexibility. It is a squad built not just to compete in the Premier League, but to attack 4 competitions, to fight for every point, for every cup progression, and to make our return to European football a glorious one after a near 30-year absence. This window and its explosive conclusion sends an unambiguous signal to everyone. The owner is 100% behind the manager and this project. The ambition is limitless. The era of just being happy to survive is over. The job of the board and the owner is now, for the most part, done. Marinakis has held up his end of the bargain. He has delivered a squad worthy of the Garibaldi. Now, the excitement and the pressure shifts to the grass of the city ground. It is up to Nuno and this incredible collection of players to deliver on that massive investment. This should be an incredibly exciting time for every single supporter. So, after everything, all the signings, all the spending, all the drama from start to finish, how would you rate this entire transfer window out of 10? Get those ratings and your reasons in the comments right now. This is what it means to be a Forest fan in this new era. It is chaos, it is ambition, it is a glorious roller coaster. If you have been on this ride with us, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on those notifications, because you will not want to miss what comes next. The window is shut, but the real work has just begun. The question on everyone's lips now is, with this incredible new squad, who should be in the starting 11 for our first European night back? We'll be breaking that down in our very next video. You will not want to miss it.